Hello, my name is Abby and I'm the Talking Book Librarian. Thank you for joining us for our book talk series. These videos will be recorded and put on the Indiana State Library's YouTube channel, as well as the Talking Book Facebook page. The purpose of these book talks is to provide ideas for book clubs and to include questions for you to answer for yourself or in a book club setting. These videos will remain online forever, so you can decide to read these books whenever you would like. If you are interested in a particular book or any of the others, give the Talking Book employees a call at 800-622-4970. And feel free to pause this video at any time to answer any of the questions or discuss. The book we will be discussing today is Educated by Tara Westover. And the synopsis for this is Tara Westover was 17 the first time she set foot in a classroom. Born to survivalists in the mountains of Idaho, she prepared for the end of the world by stockpiling home canned peaches and sleeping with her head for the hills bag. In the summer, she stewed herbs with her mother, a midwife and a healer, and in the winter, she salvaged in her father's junkyard. Her father forbade hospitals, so Tara never saw a doctor or a nurse. Gashes and concussions, even burns from explosions, were all treated at home with herbalism. The family was also isolated from mainstream society, that there was no one to ensure the children received an education and no one to intervene when one of Tara's older brothers became violent. Then, lacking any formal education, Tara began to educate herself. She taught herself enough mathematics and grammar to be admitted to the Brigham Young University, where she studied history, learning for the first time about important world events like the Holocaust and the Civil Rights Movement. Her quest for knowledge transformed her, taking her over oceans and across continents to Harvard and to Cambridge. Only then would she discover if she traveled too far, if there was still a way home. Educated is an account of the struggle for self-invention. It is a tale of fierce family loyalty and the grief that comes with severing the closest of ties. With the acute insight that distinguishes all great writers, Westover has created a universal coming-of-age story that gets to the heart of what an education is and what it offers, the perspective to see one's life through new eyes and the will to change it. And then about the author, of course, the book is about the author and about her childhood, but she was born in America and is currently living in the UK. Of course, born in Idaho with a father that didn't want public education, so she never attended school. She earned a master's from Trinity College in Cambridge in 2009, and in 2010 was a visiting fellow at Harvard University. She returned to Cambridge, where she was awarded a PhD in history in 2014. So all of this didn't happen all that long ago. And now we'll get into the discussion questions. The first one being, why do you think that Tara Westover chose the Virginia Woolf epigraph at the beginning of her story, which is, quote, "The past is beautiful because one never realizes an emotion at the time. It expands later. And thus we don't have complete emotions about the past, complete emotions about the present, only about the past," end quote. The next question is, what's your favorite quote or passage from the book? The next question, what aspects of Tara's journey do you most relate to? Next question, were there any gaps to Tara's story you wish she had filled in? The next question is, Tara's pursuit of education often feels like a rebellion towards her family and upbringing. How does it differ from her other siblings' acts of rebellion? How is it the same? Next question. Often we like to talk about how birth order affects development. Do you think that Tara's life would have been different if she were the oldest or middle child rather than being the youngest? Growing up so far removed from the world and conventional education, Tara had many gaps in her knowledge of the world, including not understanding the meaning of Holocaust. Discuss how the moment when she realizes this gap impacted her. Are there any other significant knowledge gaps that you discovered in your own education journey? Throughout the book, Westover works to challenge and sometimes dispel the truths that are presented to her by her father in order to make up her own mind about the world. Was there ever anyone in your life whose words you took to be true, but then later found yourself disagreeing? How do you know if something is true? Consider what obtaining an education entails. Oftentimes, when we think of the world, we think of school, classes, lectures, study groups. But much of Tara's education occurred outside of the classroom. Who else, aside from her teachers, helped educate Tara? Tara's father asserts that his homeschooling can't have been that bad, considering Tara went on to do so well in her education and obtained her PhD. Do you think that she succeeded academically because of him or in spite of him? Were there any lessons he imparted to her that helped her succeed academically? Tara's mother also strove to impart many lessons on womanhood and how women ought to act or behave. Were there any lessons that Tara took to heart? What did Tara reject? How did this affect her relationship with her mother? Discuss the effects of the Westover parents' faith on the family. Do you think that their faith had the desired impact on the family's growth and development? How did it affect the Westover siblings? How do you think Tara's relationship with her father changed throughout the book? Her relationship with her mother? Did your perceptions of her parents change as you read? Did your perception of her relationship with them change at all? Does it feel like this book is an honest depiction of what actually happened? How important is objectivity to you when it comes to reading memoirs? What are some examples of moments where you believe Tara was being extra truthful, or where she might have been bending the truth slightly? After reading Educated, has your perception of what makes up an education changed? Tara writes, you could call this selfhood many things: transformation, metamorphosis, falsity, betrayal. I call it an education. What do you make of this? Do you agree with her assessment? If you could ask Tara anything after reading her memoir, what would it be? Which character, aside from Tara, would you like to meet? What did you know about Educated before you read it? What questions do you still have after reading? And then the last fun one, if this book were to be made into a movie, who do you think should play Tara? How about the other characters? And of course, these questions were provided by my TBR, which is a website, and underneath that is listed. And then I was going to just provide a few thoughts on the book, a few of my thoughts on the book. I really enjoyed Educated. I definitely it resonated with me. I mean, I was homeschooled, but like actually homeschooled where we got actual education about math and science and English and whatnot. We didn't just work on the farm, but my father was a farmer. So I kind of understood the whole, you might get hurt on the farm. My father always came home with injuries at some point. But I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's, 100% truthful or if it's just through the eyes of a child and what she remembers. But I really enjoyed the book, and I would read something else that Tara Westover would write. I enjoyed her writing style. So that concludes today's book talk. And once again, if you would like to read any of these books that we've talked about, give us a call at 800-622-4970. Thank you.